My name is Serafina, and I'm 40 years old. I'm certainly not the first woman to experience abuse and mistreatment from her in-laws, and I am certainly not going to be the last. My story, however, is one that not many people can relate to, as the idea or concept of getting their revenge often seems impossible. Thank God I was able to do something about my situation. I share my story to help those in a similar position take action against the abuse they're experiencing. The story started when my husband said, "I need to tell you something important." "What is it, babe? Is everything okay?" "No, I'm afraid I have some news I need to tell you. I saw my mom and sister do something very awful." "What? What is it?" "I finally believe you. I don't think these women want what's best for you, and I'm so sorry I never believed you." Micah was referring to all the instances in which Gladys and Hannah, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law respectively, disparaged and humiliated me for no apparent reason. Instances included deliberately ruining my outfits for formal occasions, sabotaging my food and drinks so that I embarrassed myself in front of everyone, and even slandering my good business, all because they were mad that I took their precious little boy away from them. I had told Micah about this time and time again, but he would not listen to me. For some reason, at this moment, he managed to believe me. "Oh, what made you finally believe me?" "Well, I saw this." Micah proceeded to show me some of the security camera footage of our business. Micah and I run a business that sells crocheted paraphernalia, from baby clothes to purses. We sell anything and everything that can be crocheted. Our company was doing quite well for some time, and since it was mainly my idea, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law never failed to discourage me from pursuing it properly. "Are you sure that you want to be part of this business? It's not good. It's going to tank in no time, especially with your expertise, or the lack thereof." "Excuse me." What she's trying to say is that you're not well equipped enough to handle this business. You should just quit while you're ahead and become a simple housewife or a working woman. You can't start your own business. You're too dumb for that. Do you see what I mean? These women would always try to refrain me from doing things that made me happy. I think they must have been jealous, because why else would they do something so horrid? My suspicions of them being evil finally came to light when their attempts at humiliating me became undeniable. Even in those moments when I cried to my husband, showing him my ruined dress, asking him to taste my sabotaged food, and exposing their illegitimate claims about my company, he wouldn't hear it. He had to see it for himself, and then he finally did. The video footage that Micah showed me was truly awful. I didn't know people could stoop this low. In the video, we could see two masked individuals with feminine frames, one seemingly taller and one shorter, trying to vandalize our building. They had spray paint and were graffitiing our store. "Take a closer look. Look at this lady with a necklace," Micah said. I did as he said and looked closer. Sure enough, that appeared to be Gladys's rare and exotic necklace that Micah got her when he was in Fiji. "I see what you mean now. Who else could it have been? They look quite similar. I believe you now." I broke down crying. I was angry and hurt because it took him this long to believe me, but I was also relieved because someone finally saw what I was going through. I didn't want to tell him about this because it was his family. I couldn't exactly slander or sue them for the damages they were causing, but I did want to get my revenge. I had been pondering what my revenge would look like for a very long time. Suddenly, Micah received a phone call from Hannah. "Speak of the devil, am I right?" he said as he answered it. They talked for a brief time. Once he hung up the phone, he told me, "Okay, so Hannah just told me that Uncle Peter has just gotten back from a long trip, and Mom wanted to have a big family reunion since a lot of people are home for the summer." "Okay. When? This weekend? Are you going to talk to them about what happened?" "We just saw, you know I want to, but I don't know if I can." "That's my mother and my sister," Micah said. "I understand, but if you want to confront them, I will help you in any way I can," I replied. The weekend came, and Micah and I arrived early at Gladys's house to help with preparations for the big feast. Uncle Peter was everybody's favorite, so having him back home after a long time was truly special. Once we arrived, I noticed that both Hannah and Gladys's demeanors shifted from their happy and smiley faces to looks of jealousy and disgust. "Oh, you two came quite early," Gladys said. "Yeah, Mom. We wanted to help out." "We know a lot of people are going to be here today," Micah replied. "Aren't you just precious?" "It's our pleasure," I chimed in. Hannah and Gladys turned their eyes on me, looking at me as if I had stolen something from them, but they just couldn't prove it yet. "Oh, Serafina, such a terrible thing for your beautiful business to be vandalized like that. I saw it on the way over here. Just tragic. Simply awful," Hannah said. Even a 6-year-old could tell that these women were hiding something conniving. As they expressed their faux concern, they were unnaturally happy, almost elated, and I even noticed them trying to stifle a laugh. I had to hold my tongue. I didn't want to make a scene just yet. I was determined to enact my revenge at the right moment. In the meantime, I decided to play dumb. Micah followed suit because he didn't want to get his hands dirty. "Oh yes, it's just simply awful," I said, feigning distress. "We both wonder who could have done such an awful thing," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Yeah, it was hurtful to see that happen to something we worked so hard to build," Micah added. "Yes, but don't worry. The police will get to the bottom of this," I continued, watching their reactions closely. "Police? What police? Why involve them in such a simple crime? I'm sure it was just some stupid teenagers having a little bit of fun." "There's no need to involve the police," Hannah said, her voice rising slightly. "Oh, Hannah, bless your heart for caring so much about these alleged little rascals, but even so, they should be punished for what they've done. After all, it's not like they didn't know what they were doing," I replied, trying to maintain my composure. I'm inclined to agree with Hannah. How many stupid things did you do as a teenager? Don't be irrational. "Come, let's get everything ready for the party," Gladys interjected. I could tell they were sweating, trying to brush the whole thing off after inquiring so intently about it. Both Micah and I exchanged knowing looks and proceeded to help out with the party. We spent all morning and early afternoon setting everything up, cooking, and cleaning. Around 3 p.m., family members started to arrive for the big reunion. Once we had finished up everything and were lounging around, Micah pulled me to the side and said, "I have something for you. It's a concealed microphone. I want you to wear this." "What? Why? What is it?" I asked, surprised. "I'm sorry I'm not strong enough to confront my mother or my sister. I'm sorry I'm not the assertive and dominant man you want me to be. But in a way, I feel like this is better. If you expose them yourself, then you'll receive all the glory. You've always been stronger than me. Wear this, and approach them. You never know what you might find, and you can get your justice. I won't stop you." I took the microphone from him, feeling a mix of emotions, frustration that Micah couldn't stand up to his family, but also determination to finally set things right. "Okay, I'll do it," I said, fastening the microphone discreetly. "Let's see what they have to say when they think no one is listening." Micah nodded, giving me a reassuring squeeze on the shoulder. "You've got this," he said, and I took a deep breath, ready to face the challenge ahead. I appreciated Micah's words. Although I wanted him to be a bit more confrontational, I was also grateful for the help he gave me. With that, I put on the mic, hit record, and walked around to find those two witches. Finally, I found them conversing in the kitchen. They seemed to be in a heated debate of sorts, so before I entered, I waited at the door to hear what they were talking about. "She knows everything, Mom. Did you see the way she looked at us?" Hannah said, her voice shaky. "Shut up, Hannah. You're being paranoid." "She doesn't know it was us," Gladys replied, trying to calm her down. "I swear to God, Mom, she knows everything. Okay, calm down. Even if she knows something, what is she going to do? One thing you should know is that Micah loves us, and she loves Micah. If she did find out somehow, she'd tell him, and then Micah would tell her that she was crazy. I mean, that's what's been working for us so far, right? What do you mean? Hannah asked. Remember how we put ink on her dress before her pitch about the crochet business? Or how we put spoiled milk in her food and drink? She told Micah about it. There was no way that she couldn't have shared her suspicions with him, but because he loved us, he was willing to overlook it. He'll do the same for us now. At that moment, I burst into the room. I was getting irritated with their villainous talks. Although I had been recording the whole ordeal, I was fearful that, perhaps because I was far away, the mic hadn't picked up anything. I had to get closer to gather evidence against them and use it for my revenge. Hello, you two. Uncle Peter will be here any minute. Are there more things that need to be done? I asked, trying to sound casual. Serafina, you startled us, Hannah said, her eyes wide. Yes, Serafina, Gladys added, her voice a bit strained. I have a weak heart, don't do those foolish things again, Hannah cautioned, her voice tinged with concern. Not weak enough, I retorted, unable to resist a jab. What did you just say? Gladys snapped, her tone sharp. Oh, I didn't mean anything by it. Just that for such an aged woman, you do seem to be quite active, I replied, trying to smooth over the awkwardness. How dare you? Gladys exclaimed, her face flushing with indignation. Well, I could have sworn I saw you. Perhaps it was a dream or something, but I swear I saw you engaging in some rigorous activity recently. You were wearing something black, I believe, and you were also wearing a mask, I said, watching their reactions carefully. They stopped what they were doing for a brief moment, exchanging uneasy glances. Bingo. Yeah, I believe you were doing something quite rigorous. I believe it might have been something quite bad, actually, I continued, pushing the issue. Just what are you getting at? Hannah demanded, her voice trembling slightly. I think that you know exactly what I'm talking about, sweetheart, I replied, holding their gaze. Gladys proceeded to close the door, so that we could have a quieter discussion. What are you trying to insinuate? She asked, her voice low. Well, I'm not trying to insinuate anything, I said, feigning innocence. Okay, well, we don't know what you're talking about, so hush now, Hannah interjected, her eyes narrowing. I don't know. I mean, if I'm being honest, I think I might have also seen another person with their face covered alongside this other figure, and they were doing something quite criminal, I said, watching their reactions closely. What a shame. I hope you find these criminals, Gladys said tersely, her tone icy. Not so fast, Hannah. I wouldn't want you to miss this, I replied, a sly smile playing on my lips. Miss what? Hannah asked, her voice wary. At that moment, I showed them the video footage that Micah showed me. Oh, good. You caught the vandals, Gladys said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Okay, well, now that we know, Hannah began. Who they are, there's no need to investigate further, just drop the. Honestly, Serafina, you're getting insufferable with this. You're not the only building that has ever gotten vandalized, Hannah interrupted, her voice tinged with annoyance. Yeah, honestly, just get over yourself, Serafina. It's not a big deal, Gladys added, rolling her eyes. Quite the contrary, ladies. I do believe it is a big deal. You see, I learned something interesting when I discovered this video. Look closer, I said, holding the phone out to them. Both ladies squinted and zoomed into the phone screen to see what I was talking about. The look of horror and shock that crossed their faces confirmed all of my doubts. They were the ones who indeed vandalized my precious building. I told you, Mom, Hannah said, her voice trembling. Hush, this proves nothing. Who else has this necklace? Gladys retorted, trying to deflect blame. I can't take it anymore. Fine, it was us, Hannah. Don't you dare say another word, Gladys confessed, her voice strained. Well, she's caught, Mom. I don't know what you want from me, Hannah added, her eyes darting nervously. Yes, Serafina, we did it. We vandalized your business. But what are you going to do about it? Gladys challenged, a defiant glint in her eyes. Yeah, Serafina, there's absolutely nothing you can do about this situation. We know that Micah cares more about us than he ever will about you. So even if you do try to do something, he won't do anything to us because he loves us, Hannah taunted, a smirk playing on her lips. He indeed loves you guys, and it's also true that he won't do anything. But honey, what makes you think that I won't? I replied, my voice steady with determination. Do you think I'm scared of you? You tried to come for my business, that is my baby. I won't let you get away with it, I continued, locking eyes with them. Gladys and Hannah both reached out as if to snatch the phone from my grasp, but luckily, I was quicker than both of them, and I managed to pull away. Get back here, you stupid little girl. Even if you get this phone, the data has already been backed up, so there's no point in trying to fight me unless you want to accelerate your already weak heart, Gladys shouted, her voice filled with rage. Don't you dare antagonize my mother. Hannah yelled, stepping forward threateningly. Do you think you're funny? Do you think you're smart? You'll be giving us all the data this instant, or I swear. I'll tell you what, huh? What will you do? I'll hurt you in ways that you never thought were possible, Gladys threatened, her voice dripping with malice. Oh, I'm so scared. Please don't hurt me, I mocked, trying to keep my voice steady despite the rising fear. Oh, my goodness, you smart-mouthed little wench. Gladys exclaimed, her eyes blazing with anger. We were scurrying all around the kitchen until I finally managed to open the door. It was a good thing I did, too, because right on the other side of the door was Micah. Help me, your mom and sister have gone crazy. I cried out, desperation creeping into my voice. What's going on? Micah asked, his brow furrowed in concern. I'll tell you what's going on. Your pathetic wife is trying to accuse us of vandalizing her business, and she's threatening to hurt us. Hannah interjected, her voice trembling with fear. Okay, that is not true. Tell them, Micah, I pleaded, turning to him for support. There was silence. Micah looked downtrodden, and he was stuttering and stammering all over the place. I know you're not used to fighting with your mom and your sister or fighting at all for that matter, but I need you to fight for me, your wife, right now, please, I implored, tears welling up in my eyes. Still, there was silence, and Micah's face fell. My heart sank. You see, darling, Micah will always be on our side and not yours. He loves us more than he loves you, Gladys declared triumphantly, a smirk playing on her lips. Now, that's not true. I love you all the same. You're all very close to me, and that's why it's so hard to choose. What? Why not choose the truth? We both know it. You're the one who showed me the footage in the first place. I exclaimed, incredulous. What, Micah? Why would you do that? I turned to him, my voice trembling with betrayal. Because it's my business too, and what you guys did was terrible. Not just this thing, but all the other times you've antagonized my wife as well. You guys need to stop, please, Micah replied, his tone firm. We'll forgive you, speak for yourself. I'm still pressing charges, I interjected, my anger boiling over. Not on my watch, Micah declared, his voice unwavering. At that moment, Uncle Peter, our venerated guest of honor, stumbled into the area. He seemed happy but also concerned because we were all here, while everyone else was waiting for the festivities to begin. Oh, Peter, my love, it's so good to see you. You look well, Gladys greeted him, her voice dripping with false cheer. Yes, we'll begin the festivities momentarily. Let me escort you to your special seat. Tell me all about the trip, Micah said, trying to divert attention away from the tense situation. We aren't finished with you, Serafina. If you try anything, I swear on Daddy's grave that we'll make sure Micah divorces you, Hannah threatened, her eyes narrowed. Why do you treat Micah like a child? He's a grown man capable of making his own decisions. He wouldn't divorce me just because you said so, right, babe? I turned to Micah, my voice pleading for reassurance. But he just dropped his head down for the second time in 5 minutes. I did marry a wasp, I muttered under my breath, feeling a surge of anger. Angrily, I stomped away and went to the grand dining table, which was housing about 30 people. I took my seat, fuming, but still trying to ensure that I kept my composure. Not long afterward, Micah and Hannah joined, and I kept silent, even though Micah was looking at me like he wanted to say something, but he simply couldn't because of how mad I was at him. Soon after, Gladys and Uncle Peter came in, and we all celebrated as the festivities began, despite the very uncomfortable fight that happened shortly before the event. While we were eating, the rage bubbled inside of me, and I finally couldn't hold it in any longer. Attention, everyone, I said. I have an important announcement to make. There are 2 individuals here who have always hated me, who conspired to make my life a living hell. Some of you might know who I'm talking about, but just in case you don't, let me convince you, I announced, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside me. I began to play the recording from the earlier argument. I played the whole thing in its fullness, and everyone gasped and looked shocked at what they were hearing. Hannah and Gladys appeared to be frozen in their seats, unable to do anything but deny and lie, claiming I made it all up for attention. The dinner was becoming a mess. I was shouting at Gladys and Hannah, they were shouting back, and the rest of the adults at the table were trying to gather more information. Micah, as usual, stayed silent. That was until he heard sirens, and everyone went quiet. The police were coming, and they seemed to be coming to this house. What have you done, you wench? I will kill you. Gladys screamed, her face contorted with rage. I didn't do anything. I did. I'm the one who called them, Mom. Hannah, you 2 need to be punished for what you've done. I called the police on you, and they have a warrant for your arrest because I secretly recorded the argument that Serafina played back for all of you, Micah confessed, his voice filled with resolve. You guys, we've all seen the way that Mom and Hannah treat Serafina, but none of us said anything, especially me, because this is my wife, and from now on, I will be on her side because she's proven to be the correct one. Mom, Hannah, please don't make this harder than it needs to be, Micah pleaded, his voice firm. At that moment, the police made their way into the house and proceeded to arrest Gladys, who was cursing and yelling all the while. Hannah, on the other hand, did her best to run away from the police, but to no avail. She was caught, and both women were humiliated as they were being dragged out of the house. They made eye contact with me, calling me a demon, and they made eye contact with Micah, calling him a betrayer. The night resumed after they left, and although it was a bit awkward, we all began to share how Hannah and Gladys were toxic. Even Uncle Peter chimed in and said he'd rather be in prison than be around those 2. We all laughed and proceeded to have the greatest family reunion ever without those 2 toxic witches who were my in-laws. They spent the night in jail thinking over what they had done. Throughout the night, various family members were receiving calls from the local jail, and knowing that it was Hannah and Gladys calling, some family members answered and told them that they needed to spend some time in jail to learn a lesson. Others answered but pretended that the network wasn't working, but the majority of the family members simply refused to even accept the calls. Micah and my relationship improved tremendously after he helped me out by calling the police. As for Gladys and Hannah, they're out of jail but have been forced to pay a fine for the damages, which was another blow to their ego. And now, whenever we see each other, those looks of jealousy and disgust that they used to often wear on their faces have changed to shame and fear, which I prefer. Revenge has never been sweeter. Thanks for watching. How did you find the story? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more awesome stories like this. Your feedback and support mean a lot.